Hey everyone, my name is Sean, and in today's video I'm going to be showing you some True Dracos. This is easily one of my most favourite current archetypes in the game at the moment, and when I was trying to learn how to play this game competitively last year, this deck was really good at helping me understand the way the game currently works, and that is because it didn't require any use of an extra deck at all in order to play, and because I didn't have to worry about mechanics which I didn't understand too much, I could focus and spend more time at learning what my opponent was trying to do. And so True Dracos is a very good archetype to play for anybody that's returning to the game and wants to kind of understand how to play, but don't necessarily just want to lose and get lost in their own cards, because they're very straightforward. They're a tribute summon based mechanic deck, and as long as you understand how to do tribute summons, you are absolutely fine and you can play this deck well. So let's talk about True Draco. So what I've just done is I've used the card pot of Duality, and that allows me to pick up the top 3 cards in my deck and add one to my hand. Now the reason why pot of Duality works in a deck like this is because True Dracos do not care about special summoning whatsoever. And so we can play cards like pot of Duality, which say you cannot special summon the turn that you activate those cards, and not have to worry about those downsides because this deck doesn't try to special summon at all anyway. So now what we've done is we've set 2 of our cards and we've activated 1 True Draco Heritage, and now we're going to use one of its effects, and True Draco Heritage along with another card called Disciples of the True Draco Phoenix. Both of their spell cards allow you to get an extra tribute summon during your turn. And now you're seeing what's so unique about the True Draco monsters. The True Draco monsters can use continuous spell and trap cards on your field in order to do their tribute summon, as opposed to using a monster like a normal tribute summon would do. This makes the deck a lot more faster than something say like Monarchs, where you have to worry about having monsters on the board first and then using those to tribute summon, but you only get 1 normal summon per turn. Whereas True Dracos can just say, okay, I'll use my spells and trap cards as those as my tribute fodder, and then just summon them really directly to the field. And that's what this deck is all about, really. It's all about using your lots of continuous spells and trap cards to cripple your opponent and then slow them down, and while you summon more monsters to the field. So we're going to be playing against Shadownin here today, Shadownin 25, and we are going to try and see what he is playing. And he activates Fossil Dig. Fossil Dig is a dinosaur deck card, so he is going to be searching out a level 6 or higher dinosaur monster from his deck. And now I activate the chart card Ignis Heat in return. And Ignis Heat and all of the True Draco monsters have the effect of whenever your opponent uses a card or effect, you can either add or activate 1 type of True Draco card from your deck to your hand. Ignis Heat can search out your spells and trap cards, whereas Dynamite Knight can search out your trap cards, and Majesty Maiden can add one of your monster cards to your hand. So they all provide you forms of searching as well. However, unfortunately, Shadownin negated my effect with Ash Blossom, so I didn't get to do my search. He then added a copy of Soul Eating of a Raptor, and to my surprise, he's actually now going to summon Mech Knight Purple Nightfall. My opponent is playing Mech Knight Dinosaurs, and a mix of 2 archetypes I have never really seen before. I don't really get the mixture between these 2, or the synergy between the 2. Mech Knights are a good archetype to use because they're pretty much all special summon based, but they don't really do anything to help dinosaur monsters, so I don't see the synergy here, but we'll see how he plays nonetheless. So he has just used Purple Nightfall's effect to banish itself on the field in order to add another Mech Knight card from my opponent's deck to his hand, and he's added a copy of Indigo Eclipse. Indigo Eclipse is now going to use this effect, and it's going to try to move itself out of the column and move itself to another spot. And I could have chained there with Monarch's Erupts to negate the effect of his monster, but I decided to hold on to it because I'm expecting him to try to summon this card here, Mech Knight Blue Sky. And Mech Knight Blue Sky has the effect of when it is summoned to a column, it counts the number of your opponent's cards in a column, and you can add Mech Knight monsters from your deck to your hand equal to the number of cards your opponent controls in this column. So because I had 1 card, he was going to be able to search out 1 monster, and I now negated that. I also wanted to negate his Soul Eating of a Raptor as well. I don't want him to get that effect. And so the Monarch's Erupts is a really powerful spell trap card in this deck, where as long as I control a tribute summon monster, all cards on the field have their effects negated except tribute summon monsters. So essentially I get to use my monster effects, you don't get to use yours. which is why this deck is so nice. Shadownin's now going to go to the battle phase, and I think he's going to crash into my monster, and unfortunately there isn't a lot I could do to protect it. So now I'm going to use the card Waterfall of Dragon Souls. Now Waterfall of Dragon Souls has two effects. I can either A, add one worm monster from my deck to my hand, or I could B, send any number of worm monsters from my hand or face up on my field to the graveyard, which is what I'm going to do now. I'm going to send my one Ignis Heat, and then draw as many cards as I sent to the graveyard, plus 1. So this card really helps you to break even, because I was about to lose my monster, but instead I sent it to the graveyard to get an extra draw. And the reason why I did that is because I would rather get an extra draw right now than really care about having to take the 2400 damage. So that doesn't bother me whatsoever at all. Shadownin now also normal summon Soul Eating over Raptor, and I guess he didn't understand the Monarch's Erupt. Monarch's Erupt, it doesn't go away once your tribute summon monster has left the field. It will stay there until my next end phase. If in my next end phase I don't have a tribute summon monster on the field, then it will destroy itself. But for now, it's going to stay on the field. And a lot of people seem to make that mistake. They think that once the tribute summon monster is gone, Monarch's Erupt will be gone as well. But that's not the case. So I now have Disciples of the True Draco Phoenix. We are going to use its effect. And its effect is going to allow us to do an extra tribute summon this turn. So I haven't used up my normal summon. If I had another card, I actually could normal summon that card out too. But Disciples is going to give me an extra tribute summon. So we're going to send Disciples to the graveyard in order to normal summon out another copy of Ignis Heat. Now Disciples is going to activate Light True Draco Heritage, and it's going to destroy a spell trap card on the field because it was sent from the field to the graveyard. And so we destroyed our opponents. I believe that is a Super Evolution Pill, which is really nice to hear. Now there isn't a whole lot more we could do right here. So I'm just checking if Overwrapped has any graveyard based effects, and it doesn't. So we are now going to go to battle, and I'm going to attack into Blue Sky. And the reason why I'm choosing not to attack into Overraptor here is because I don't want his graveyard necessarily right now to be filled with resources that he can then banish to summon out one of his bigger dinosaur monsters like Ultimate Conductor Tyranno, which requires that he has 2 dinosaur monsters in his graveyard to summon it to the field, or use something like Super Evolution Peel, which can banish 1 dinosaur monster and 1 non-dinosaur monster in order to summon a really big dinosaur from their deck. So I try to keep Soul Eating Overraptor onto the field, because I don't want to say we want him to do that just yet. We pass over to Shadownin's turn here, and Shadownin is now going to be able to return his Mechanite Purple Nightfall, and I'll be honest with you, I actually forgot that Purple Nightfall returns itself to the field, and so now I'm a little bit worried here, because he's got monsters which are bigger than mine on the field. I don't really have any way to stop my monster being destroyed by battle, and although he can't use his monster effects, because Monarch's Erupt is currently active, I can't really stop myself from being attacked either, so we are going to take a lot of damage right now here. So, excuse me. Purple Nightfall attacks into Ignis Heat. That's going to do 100 damage. He then attacks directly with Soul Eating Overraptor. That's going to do 1800 damage. And then on top of that, we're going to have to take an attack from Indigo Eclipse. And Indigo Eclipse is going to do 2400 damage. And so we are now down to 1300 damage left, and that's rough. That's definitely putting us on the back pedal, and we need to draw some really good cards to kind of help us get out of this rut. But while we are here, we can talk about it now. Unfortunately, this deck did get nerfed quite a bit from the last ban list, and the last ban list saw that took out one of our two of our key starters, Card of Demise and Draconic Diagram, and it negated those cards. Not to negate those cards, it limited those cards to 1. So we don't have as much draw power for this deck as we used to. But I have tried to kind of mitigate this with cards like Pot of Desires, which we just drew into, and we're going to activate here. So we have to banish 10 cards from our deck, and then we get to draw 2 cards. And I'm hoping these 2 cards are going to be good ones, because we really need something here. So we drew into Amano Iwato and also Pot of Duality. The Pot of Duality is nice, and hopefully when we use its effect, we'll be able to dig through our deck and pick something else up. But first, we're going to just just check our 10 cards and see what cards were banished, and hopefully nothing too key was banished here. We just banished some of our duplicate cards. So first we're going to do Pot of Duality. Let's see what we get on top of our deck. And it's going to be... Okay, we get 1 Majesty Maiden, a True Draco caster. 1 Waterfall of Dragon Souls. Okay, not bad. And 1 Draconic Diagram. And that is absolutely the card we're going to add to our hand. Diagram is just the deck card that makes this deck just go and makes this deck work. It's a really, really amazing card and a very, very powerful one. And yeah, just such a shame that it got limited to 1 because it really hurt how consistent this deck was. So I'm just looking at my graveyard. I just wanted to count how many Draco cards in my graveyard and make sure I know what card we're going to search for. And so now we're going to activate Diagram, and Diagram is going to allow us to destroy 1 card on our side of the field or in our hand to add another True Draco card from our deck or hand to our hand. I'm just getting a bit apprehensive because I remember at this point Shadownin was asking why Monarch's Erupt wasn't negated, so you might actually hear me talk in a second, explain that to him, because I do remember explaining it to him, but I don't know if that got recorded or not. But nonetheless, we destroyed Mano Iwato and we've gone and searched out. Here we go.
Did you say something?
So I will just talk over this part for here, but so True Draco, we're going to now tribute summon at Dynamite Knight. Yeah, hey, this is him just asking about the card.
Yeah, that's right.
And yeah, he figured it out himself. He realized that it doesn't destroy it doesn't destroy itself until the end phase. So yeah, apologies, I forgot about this was that this got captured, but I'm not taking it out. We keep it in anyway. So anyway, Dynamite Knight. Dynamite Knight is now on the field, and that's nice because we're going to be able to use him to search out spells and trap cards. And with Draconic Diagram on the field, he's coming out at 2800 attack, so he's going to be bigger than my opponent's Mech Knight cards. So now we're going to attack Purple Nightfall. Purple Nightfall is going to destroy that card and be destroyed, and we're going to do 300 damage. And then we're going to pass turn and chill for the time being. And now we're a little bit more comfortable. We've got a little bit more control of the board. Having Monarch's Erupt is really nice because he can't use his monster effects. And having Diagram and also Dynamite Knight is also really nice because we're going to be able to do some searching. Shadownin draws into Double Evolution Peel, and he's going to banish 1 dinosaur monster and 1 non-dinosaur monster from his graveyard, and he is going to summon something from his deck. But first, I'm going to activate the effect of Dynamite Knight, the True Draco Fighter, and then get 1 of my True Draco trap cards from my deck and activate it straight away. So I'm actually going to get True King's Return, and I'm going to activate this card immediately. And that's going to help us build up our board a little bit more in just a second. But let's see what monster Shadownin is going to summon with this card. Normally speaking, it's either going to be Ultimate Conductor Tyranno, or it's going to be Overtex, Coapulus Overtex or something like that. So we'll see what card he gets out. And yeah, Dinosaur is just so powerful, so big. Still waiting to see what Shadownin is going to summon. Yeah, I'm not too sure I'm convinced about the mix between the Mech Knights and the dinosaurs. It's a very aggressive deck. It can summon a lot of big monsters quite quickly, but I don't see how they help each other, to be honest. Shadownin's still thinking, still taking his time for a bit. Yeah, but True Dracos, I really like this deck. I was able to go to other people's locals with this deck and beat them. I was able to win locals in London, locals in Milton Keynes with this deck, and had a lot of success with this deck. And this is the deck which I was going to rely upon in order to carry me through to Master Rule 5. So when Master Rule 5 was announced, I was like, oh, okay. We're going to get Xyz, Fusions, and Synchros back to full power, or back to the way they were. I was like, I don't know what the best deck is going to be, but I know I can just play 2 Dracos. So I was just going to stick with this deck and just allow it to carry me through. But with the hits of this deck on the ban list, is yeah, it kind of killed off how good this deck was, and it's a shame. I really like this deck. I think it's great. I think it's unique. It's different. There aren't many decks out there that try to focus on tribute summoning, and so having that as a mechanic would be really nice. So he summons out his Conductor Tyranno, and this should be game because his monsters are bigger than mine. However, Draconic Diagram has a really cool effect, and that is the first time one of my tribute summon monsters will be destroyed by battle, they will not be destroyed. So Dynamite Knight is actually going to survive, even though I will take 700 damage, bring me down to 600 attack only, 600 life points only. And so unfortunately we can stave off this attack and we're not going to lose this turn. Before the turn ends, we're going to use the effect of True King's Return, and True King's Return is going to activate, and so we can special summon back one of the Ignis Heats that were in our graveyard and summon them to the field. Now, any of the cards which are special summoned via True King's Return aren't treated as tribute summon monsters, so they cannot do their searching effects, but still, I'm able to summon back my Ignis Heat, and he's going to come out at 2700 attack, and that's going to help me turn the tide of this battle quite nicely. Speaking of which, we just drew into True Draco Apocalypse, the next card we needed to help us break this board, and so I'm really happy to see that card here. So we're now going to use True King's Return again, and we're going to summon out the other copy of Ignis Heat, which is going to be pretty cool. And so that's going to give us 2 new monsters with 2700 attack on the field. And then we are now in a position to really break Shadownin's board and start taking control of this duel. It took us a while to get there, but still, this is a deck that's a survivor. It's so durable, and yeah, so now we're going to use Draconic Diagram, and Diagram's effect is going to activate, and we're going to use Diagram to destroy True King's Return because we have nothing else to special summon, and then we're going to search out Disciples of the True Draco Phoenix. And the whole game plan here is anytime I have 3 True Draco cards in my graveyard, I want to reshuffle them back into the deck and keep on using them again and again and again, thanks to Draconic Diagram and Disciples. So that's the idea here. True King's Return was sent from the field to the graveyard, so we were able to destroy a monster, and we destroyed Ultimate Conductor Tyranno. And now we activate Disciples, and we're going to use this effect, shuffle 3 of our cards from our graveyard back into our deck, and then we're going to be able to draw 1. There are only 3 cards left in our graveyard, so that's nice. So they're going to go back into our deck, and we can use them again later on. And now, we've really got a good control of this board here. But now we're going to turn one of the Ignis Heats to attack. Unfortunately, we can't turn them both, so then we can wipe out this whole board. But we can at least get rid of one of them. And now I'm going to attack over Mech Knight Indigo Eclipse. That's going to do 300 damage there. And then I'm going to attack it to Overraptor because I don't want him to have Giant Rex. Giant Rex has a graveyard based effect. Or not a graveyard based effect, but an effect which says anytime this card is banished, you can special summon it to the field. And so if it goes to the graveyard, that's the card he's going to want to banish. So if I have to leave a card on the field, I'd rather leave leave him on the field so that he can't banish it and get more free cards for his Ultimate Conductor Tyranno to use. So, over to Shadownin's turn. Shadownin still has a sizable lead, but we definitely have full control of the board right now. We have 9 cards on the board, and yeah. He top decks into another Ultimate Conductor Tyranno. And he's going to sit here with 3500 attack, and yeah, his cards are bigger than mine, so he should be able to attack for game here, and he should just be able to take this duel now. He's not going to do piercing damage, so he should attack one of my bigger monsters. He's going to attack into Dynamite, and Dynamite won't be destroyed by this battle, but he will take damage. Except we have True Draco Apocalypse. True Draco Apocalypse has the effect where I can destroy 1 True Draco card I control and half the attack and defense of all of his monsters. So we are going to destroy his my defense position, Ignis Heat, get rid of that, and all of his monsters will now get halved. And so Ultimate Conductor Tyranno gets halved and becomes 1750, which is way bigger and bigger enough for him to lose to Dynamite Knight, and also for me to do a nice bit of damage here as well. And at this point here, I've pretty much just won the game. This is how True Dracos like to grind people down. He's got 1 spell track card face down. His Giant Rex isn't going to do anything. There's nothing in his graveyard that's going to do anything. and we're going to be able to destroy this face down card really easily. But first, before we do anything, we're going to activate Water full of Dragon Souls, and we're going to search out a worm monster from our deck to our hand. And so we're going to go get our girl, Majesty Maiden, the True Draco caster, and then that's going to help us win the game in the next turn or so. So, here we go to my turn here. Drew into Solemn Judgment as well, which is nice. We haven't got many life points left, but it's always half my life points. And then we're going to use Diagram as effect, and we're going to use Diagram to destroy Disciples and search out a copy of Heritage. Disciples is now going to activate because it was sent to the graveyard, and we can destroy a spell trap card in the field. So let's destroy that last spell trap card that Shadowden has on the field. Let's see what it is. It was I have no idea what that was. I think that's a Scarecrow card, Swift Scarecrow. Doesn't matter. It's gone now. And at this point here, yeah, we've got game here. We're going to be able to draw cards. We draw one card because one spell went to the graveyard, so we get to draw one. And then we're going to now do a Tribute Summon. We're going to use Apocalypse. Destroy one of my cards to half the attack and defense of his monsters. So we destroy Heritage there. I don't know why I'm bothering to do this. It's a bit pointless. If I could just Tribute Summon Majesty Maiden right now. We can Tribute Summon over Monarch's Erupt. I could just Tribute Summon over Apocalypse and destroy this monster. It didn't matter really. Yeah, there were so many ways so many things we could tribute it over, and now we're just gonna go and attack for game. And yeah, this has hopefully been a really good example of what True Dracos do in action. If you like this deck and you want to try it yourself, stay tuned, because in a moment I'm going to show you the deck profile and break it down as to what the cards do in this deck. So you've seen the gameplay. Let's go through the deck profile now, and let me show you what cards I was playing in this deck. So, to begin off with, I just want to quickly mention that True Draco lost a lot of their good starters recently with the recent ban list hit, where Card of Demise got limited to 1, and Draconic Diagram got limited to 1, and also Into the Void got limited to 1. The starter cards which I have in here as a replacement aren't necessarily as good as these previously cards were, so you might want to modify them and mess around with them, especially trying to find something to replace Draconic Diagram. You really did depend on this card to make this deck work, and having only one of them just isn't that good. So yeah, feel free to modify these starters. So let me show you what the starters are currently. The starters are 1 Diagram with the 1 Terraforming to search it out. Then we have 3 Pot of Desires, and 3 Pot of Duality, 2 Pot of Desires, and 1 Card of Demise for draw power. And then you have Water full of Dragon Souls to do your searching and do more draw power stuff. Extenders, like I said already, all your monsters are extenders. Your monsters do more searching. Dynamite searches out your trap cards. Ignis Heat searches out your spell cards. Maiden searches out monsters. And all of your spells and trap cards give you extra tribute summons. Your Disciples gives you more draw power by shuffling 3 cards from your graveyard back into your deck, whereas Heritage counts the types of cards that went to the graveyard during this turn and gives you 1 draw for each type, monster, spell, and trap. And then True King's Return allows you to summon monsters back from your graveyard to the field in defense position, so these all work as extenders. Removal, these are also all removal cards, and that is anytime they're sent to the graveyard, you can destroy a card on the field. Your spells and traps destroy spells and trap cards, whereas your trap cards destroy monster cards, so feel free to use those to get rid of your opponent's threats, and this is what helps you go second quite nicely. Defensive cards, we've got many defensive cards. We've got our onboard negation to negate monster effects with skill drain and triple Monarch's Erupt. We've got trying to limit your opponent from what they can summon by playing their only 1, so they can only control 1 monster of a certain type. Then we've got True Draco Apocalypse. This card is really cool because you've seen this already. You can half the attack of your opponent's monsters, and this is the way your monsters get over their bigger monsters. Imperial Order is there to negate spells. And then we've got Mystic Mine in order to just help you kind of make a comeback anytime you have fewer cards than your opponents. So you stop their monster effects, and then you gather your resources, and they can't attack you while this card's on the field. And then for bombs, yeah, again, most of these cards are bombs. You've seen how they can just be so detrimental to your opponent if your opponent can't play around them, play through them. This can really kind of just shut down their strategy. But the only other card here which we haven't talked about already is Amano Iwato. Amano Iwato is the absolute off button. Literally, you put it to the field, no monster effects can be played, and then in the end phase it comes back to your hand, and you can just do this again and again and again, and say no monster effects to your opponent. really good for breaking the board. So the profile overall is double Imano Iwato, 1 Dynamite Knight, triple Ignis Heat, 1 Majesty Maiden, 1 Card of the Mise, triple Disciples, 1 Diagram, 1 Mystic Mine, 2 Pot of Desires, 3 Duality, 1 Terraforming, triple Heritage, 1 Imperial Order, 1 Skill Drain, triple Judgment, triple Erupt, triple There Can Be Only One, triple Apocalypse, 1 True King's Return, and triple Waterfall of Dragon Souls. And that is True Dracos. Along with Altergeist and Subterror, True Dracos are one of the best control decks in the game. A little bit weaker than they used to be because of the previous ban list. Breaks my heart, I used to love this deck so much. But it is what it is, and so we're still just trying to make it work. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'll see you soon. Take care.